Hello, good morning. This is Tom Barnhart, and we're doing our weekly interview series, GBS Director Interview Series. I'm here this morning with Piotr Tomaszewski, based in Krakow at AIG's GBS Center there, and his title is Director of Financial Services and Business Operations at IAG GBS in Krakow. Piotr, nice to see you today. Thank you for taking some time with us this morning. Start us off by giving us a bit of overview of what IAG overall is doing, and then we'll drill down to operations in Krakow.
Hi, Tom. Thanks for having me here. So a couple of words about IAG before we get to IAG GBS. So the company name is probably known to many people, but just in case, that IAG stands for International Airlines Group. It's one of the biggest airline groups in Europe and in the world. It consists of many operating companies, but probably the best known is the parent company, for example, of British Airways, the national carrier of UK, as well as Iberia, the national carrier of Spain. I'm, as Tom mentioned, I'm responsible for the finance services and business operations in the GBS center of IAG, located in Krakow. That center is here on the market for, 11 years now. Wow, time passes by so quickly. My area of responsibility focuses on the day-to-day operational finance, but also on subjects associated, that's the business operations part of my title, on the areas associated with, let's say, the core of airline business, such as managing the loyalty platform for our group, and also some of the HR services, including payroll operations.
Okay, all right, yeah. So give us a bit more overview of that. What are the services being provided from Krakow for the IAG group?
Yeah. First of all, I'll start with that Krakow is the only GBS center for our airline group. We don't have centers spread across the world. We also have a very limited cooperation with the BPO providers. We used to have more in the finance operations area, but we decided to insource it back, and we finished that project mid of last year. So when it comes to day-to-day operational finance, very much all the services are delivered from here in Krakow. We focus on what I would call a standard or a classic scope of shared services and GBSs. So purchase to pay, order to cash, record to report. So that's probably very well known to everybody. But we also do provide services in the areas which are quite unique to the airline business. Just to name a few, one of them is revenue accounting. I will not get into too much detail because I could speak about it probably for the next 30 minutes or so, but that's very specific for the airline world. We also, as I mentioned, support one of our operating companies, IAG Loyalty, in managing the loyalty platform. That's where you collect all the points from your flights and exchange this for upgrades, flights, or goods, and also some of the HR services for our airline group. So the scope is pretty broad. These are not the only areas which IAG GBS supports our group with. We also have a team which is responsible for the taxes. We also have a quite big treasury team, and also FP&A, financial planning and analysis. So overall, in the center in Krakow, we have around 600 employees at the moment. The team I'm managing is around 350 resources at the moment.
Okay, and the dynamic of that growth has gone from what 2 or 3 years ago to what you expect it will be in 2 or 3 years?
Support for this weekly GBS interview series comes from iTalents, a Poland-based outsourcing provider that helps companies scale IT and F&A capabilities. When I speak with GBS finance directors and IT directors, many seem to have the same challenge: getting the right people at the right time into critical roles to support strategic projects. So if you're leading an IT or soft dev project or a corporate transformation initiative, iTalents can help you quickly bring in qualified Polish engineers. Or if you've got an urgent senior vacancy in F&A areas such as R2R, PDP, or controlling, iTalents can provide interim specialists to keep the processes running smoothly. And they use different models based on what you need: recruitment, staff augmentation, or outsourcing. They've also got blue chip clients from the US, Western Europe, and from GBS centers here in Central Europe. Oh, and they're rated 5 stars on Clutch. You can find more details and contacts at italents.com.
That in the airline world, it's always difficult to give the exact numbers. When it comes to my area, I'll speak about my area. My area has grown more than 50% in the last 2 to 3 years. I mentioned that we insourced the scope from the BPO provider in India to here to manage the daily finance operations. But also there's a lot of the organic growth based on what the operating companies are willing to give us, and we're quite actively pursuing that. So as I said, we grew in about 50%. In terms of where we want to be in the next few years, I think the answer is while I can't really say where I want to be in terms of headcount, I know where I want to be in terms of the processes. So obviously AI revolution happening these days, but also transformation journey, which we began as a group in the finance area end of last year, which will help to transform the way we deliver the processes. So the way I think about it is that we will inevitably shrink in those classic shared service scopes, this P2PO to CR2R. You simply need more people to do the same job, and probably with better outcomes because of the progressing automation and artificial intelligence. But I see potential to grow in the other non-financial areas, so that business operations side of things, because I think there's a lot of unused potential. Will that mean that the headcount will grow, stay the same, or shrink a little bit? Hard to say at the moment, but I think this is roughly the direction of travel.
Okay, so you touched on the insource to BPO earlier. Tell us about that some more, because that's always a common issue that the GBS directors, whether they outsource it and then 3-5 years later they bring it back in. Tell us how that process worked for you guys, and which BPO you were using.
So we used to work with Accenture, then we shifted to WNS, which is so WNS was based in Chennai. Accenture was based in Chennai. WNS was based in Mumbai. WNS has been recently acquired by Capgemini, by the way. I think that is known to this community. But I'm not sure if anyone knows that actually WNS has been originally created by British Airways as their in-house BPO. The key reason why we decided to insource the BPO operations was that we had the constant problems in our purchase to pay process. And I wanted to emphasize one thing. This wasn't because our BPO was underperforming. This was partially due to the structure we have in our group, where the processes are very different operating company to operating company. They're not very standardized. And those kind of processes typically don't work very well in BPO. So I was challenged by my stakeholders, what can we do to improve the situation? And I said, look, we can go into yet another plan of how can we fix that burning problems, or we can insource the scope, transforming it on the way to Krakow, which will lead to the headcount reduction, because obviously cost is key. And we can deliver that with better quality from Krakow, because we'll have everything under our control. You won't have any third party that you rely on, and might not always be perfectly aligned in terms of goals and expectations. And that worked. That was a challenging project. We did it quite fast. It took us less than 12 months, really, from the point when the decision was taken to do that. And so far, I'm after a year or more than a year after finishing this project, I'm really happy with the outcome. But of course, we still need to proceed on our transformation journey.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a bit about talent access and cost in Krakow. I want to come back to AI later, but in terms of finding the talent, and how is that shifting in Poland, in Krakow, in terms of accessing people, but also the costs are going up everywhere. How much has that affected you guys at this point?
Cost in Krakow or Poland more broadly is becoming a problem. I think this is the overall business area challenge which everybody's facing right now. Polish economy is growing. The gap between Poland and the Western countries is closing, and it will proceed. Touch wood.
That's a victim of your own success. That's the point, yeah. Right?
That's a success story. So you can't compete with BPO market in countries where the costs are lower based on that factor alone. You could in the early 2000s, you could do that even in 2010s, not anymore.
Yeah.
So you need to bring to a table more, which is better ownership, better control, better talent, and inevitably automation and AI. I see that we have a really good talent pool in Krakow. And I see that for employers like us, the situation has improved over the last few years in Krakow because I think the market got much more saturated. I mean, you only can have that many centers in a city which is below 1 million, right? So the market got saturated. The number of entrants decreased, partially because of the growing cost, of course. But I think it's not just the only part, which resulted in the staff turnover ratio going down. I mean, we used to be in the double digits. We used to be 16 to 80%. I think that used to be the market average. Now, when I speak about my area, we're in single digits. I mean, we're like 5% maybe. So it's much easier to keep the talent you need, but also to upskill the people that you have. I also see a positive shift in terms of universities and the city in the last years. So universities are much more open to cooperation with the sector. There are some targeted courses on the universities here in Krakow. We're actually running some classes even for students over there. And also they start reflecting the needs from the market in terms of not just AI, but things like data analytics, like automation, etc. So I see that the talent pool is maturing. We're not just producing people who can, deliver once they enter the job market, deliver simple transactional activities, but can bring much more to a table. At the same time, because it's easier to keep the key talent in your organization, it's easier to plan a really good growth path for them. So I think from employers' perspective, the situation now is really good. And when I was speaking to some investors a few months ago, which in the end decided to open their center in Krakow, that's exactly what I was telling them, that actually, on the contrary, what you might hear somewhere from the press that, that some centers are closing, etc. Actually, it's good from employers' perspective to start their business now in Krakow because you've got a mature talent pool, you've got good supply of fresh talent from the universities. At the same time, you don't have to worry because your staff turnover ratio is high because people jump between centers very frequently every 3 or 6 months. And that used to be the case 10, 15 years ago, which I remember very well. So, but the future is for me, being able to deliver the same what we deliver today in a much more efficient way. But by efficient, I don't mean just reduce headcount compared to what it is today, but I mean reducing the number of errors, automation, data. That's the direction.
So that's a good segue into let's have our last comment about the AI and the agentic AI, anything else automation and AI writ large in terms of vendors and solutions. Tell us what you're doing in that space. Are you implementing certain specific things that are working, something that hasn't worked? Do you view it as a hype or actual practical applications you can see now at IAG?
Right now, the key project in the AI area is the chatbot for help desk. We're working on implementation. Okay. We actually are plugging it in with yet another tool we have, which is a data mining tool from a company called Celonis, which is probably familiar to the audience. So based on the data, a very structured and exact data which we have in Celonis, we're building chatbots that will help to reduce the number of help desk or the workload of the help desk agents we currently have, because a lot of that will be implemented automatically. At the moment, we're also in the middle of a big project where we consolidate our SAP instances, and once this is implemented, we also will be looking into what SAP Joule can bring into the picture. I think we are yet to see really in the market some big AI revolutionary implementations which will completely change the way how the financial process are being delivered. For me now, it's more of an adoption quite often through the tools we already have. I mentioned SAP, but it's not just SAP, where the actually software providers implement AI features in their tools, which help them to deliver in a much more better way.
So, and you're using Copilot as well, right? That's part of your.
We are using Copilot. Copilot we were actually one of the first massive adopters of Copilot. I still remember we worked on Copilot beta back in a day. It was terrible back then. Right now it's pretty good. I'm really pleased with what Copilot can bring to the table. But I think the key is you need to have your data easily accessible in one place. Otherwise, no AI tool will sort out the problems you might be having.
Yeah, great. Well, Piotr, let's stop there. Appreciate your time today, and enjoy the coming weekend and the rest of the summer. And hope to see you in September in Warsaw at our September 8th event, perhaps. But thanks for your time, insights into IAG, and good luck as you guys continue to develop.
Thanks, Tom. Pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.